So, we've got a really interesting stack of research to get through today.
Yeah, this one is a bit of a surprise.
It is. Usually when we talk about, a gold rush, we're looking at AI, maybe biotech. But today, we're talking about thermostats.
It sounds so boring on the surface, doesn't it? But when you actually peel back the layers in these reports, the humble thermostat has, well, it's quietly become this huge business opportunity.
That's exactly what hooked me. We're not talking about that old beige dial on the wall. We're talking about the smart thermostat installation market.
Right.
And the big headline here seems to be that it's shifting from just a simple handyman task to a really high margin trade, a gateway, really, into the whole smart home economy.
Gateway is the perfect word. It really is.
Yeah.
Because once you get that device on the wall, the whole relationship with the homeowner changes.
And we'll get to that. But
Yeah.
first, the numbers. I saw mentions of six-figure revenues for like a one-person operation. That sounded high to me.
It does, but the math checks out. We can break it down.
Okay, but let's set the stage. Why now? It's January 2026. What's the why now factor?
It's basically a perfect storm. You have two massive trends converging. First, you've just got pure economic pressure.
On homeowners.
On homeowners, yeah. Energy prices have skyrocketed everywhere. A utility bill isn't just a nuisance anymore. It's a major financial stressor for a lot of families. And a smart thermostat can cut energy use by, 10 to 30%.
So it's not just a cool gadget, it's a defensive financial move.
Exactly. It's an investment with a real tangible return. But the second factor, and this one is arguably even bigger, is government intervention.
The incentives.
Massive incentives. A huge coordinated push. In the U.S., you have rebates that are covering 50, sometimes even 100% of the cost of the device.
Wow.
And in the EU, you have these strict new efficiency mandates for buildings kicking in.
So let me get this straight. The government is basically paying people to buy these things. And at the same time, people are terrified of their next heating bill. That is a powerful combo.
It creates this sort of artificial acceleration of demand.
Yeah.
And the market projections really reflect that.
I saw that number. The smart home installation market is projected to jump from about $9.5 billion in 2024 to, what was it, almost $20 billion.
Nearly $20 billion by 2031.
So that's doubling in size in just 7 years.
Which, for a service industry, is just huge. That's tech sector growth in a blue-collar trade.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is to unpack how someone captures a slice of that $20 billion pie. We need to look at the money, the tech, the hurdles. But I have to play devil's advocate here.
Go for it.
I'm pretty handy. If I go out and buy a Nest, can I just stick it on the wall myself? Why is there even a market for this?
That is the DIY myth. And honestly, that myth is the foundation of this whole business. I mean, yes, theoretically, you could do it yourself.
The box says easy installation.
It always does. But the research highlights this very specific technical fear that makes people call a pro. And it's not about screwing a plate to the wall. It's about the wires behind it.
Okay, let's drill into that, because I think most people just picture two wires, red and white, and you're done. What's the actual barrier?
The biggest headache, especially in North America, is something called the C wire, the common wire.
Right, the C wire. We saw that term everywhere. Break it down for me. What does it actually do?
Sure. So think of your old thermostat. It was basically just a light switch. It didn't need its own power. It just completed a circuit to tell the furnace on or off.
Maybe it had an AI battery for the clock.
Exactly. But a smart thermostat is a computer. It has Wi-Fi, a color screen, a processor. It needs way more power. It's basically a little smartphone on your wall.
And that computer needs constant power.
A constant 24-volt stream. And the C-wire is what provides the return path for that power. The problem is millions of homes built before, say, 2010 just don't have one.
So what happens if you try to install one without it? Does it just not work?
Sometimes. But what's worse is when it tries to work, some of these devices use a technique, and this is the actual term, called power stealing.
Power stealing? That sounds risky.
It can be. It tries to sip tiny bits of power from the heating wire by pulsing the circuit really fast. And that can cause your furnace to cycle on and off, which wears out the equipment.
Or the Wi-Fi keeps dropping out.
Right, because it never gets enough juice. And that leads to the real fear factor. The risk of short-circuiting the HVAC control board.
And that's the nightmare scenario, isn't it?
That is the catastrophic failure. You're not just breaking a $200 thermostat. You could be frying the control board on a $10,000 heating system.
Okay, that puts it in perspective immediately. Saving a couple $100 on an install isn't worth a $10,000 repair bill.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That risk is what drives the whole market.
Now that's in the US and Canada. What about Europe or the UK? The electrical systems are different.
It's actually significantly more intense over there. In the US, thermostat wiring is usually low voltage, 24 volts. It might give you a little tickle if you touch it.
But you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. In the UK and a lot of the EU, many heating systems use high voltage mains power, 230 volts, right there in the thermostat wiring.
Whoa, so if you touch the wrong wire there.
It's not just a blown fuse, it's a life-threatening safety hazard. You're playing with the same electricity that's in your wall sockets.
Okay, so you have this technical fear and then you have the financial justification. The sources kept saying customers see these as investments, not gadgets.
That's a huge psychological shift. If you spend $300 on an install, but the system saves you that much on your energy bill in like 18 months, the service pays for itself. The ROI is obvious.
So the demand is real. The do-it-for-me driver is strong. Let's get to the part everyone wants to hear, the money.
Right.
We talked about 6 figures. How does that math actually work for a solo operator?
The numbers are pretty striking. A solo person working alone can net between $75,000 and $150,000 a year.
And that's based on doing, what, 5 to 10 installs a week? That seems really low. That's like 1 or 2 a day.
Yep. It does sound low until you look at the ticket size. The average earnings per visit are between $150 and $400. And the actual work time, if you know what you're doing, is often just 30 to 60 minutes.
So you could make $300 for an hour of work.
Correct. You do 2 jobs in a morning, you clear $500 or $600.
Yep.
Do that 4 days a week, and you're hitting that 6-figure run rate pretty comfortably.
But what about costs? That's where a lot of businesses bleed out.
Not this one. That's what's so fascinating. The margins are incredible. If you're doing service only, where the customer already bought the device,
Yeah.
your gross margins are 80 to 90%.
80 to 90%. That's like software.
Well, think about it. What are your costs? Gas money? And maybe 50 cents worth of wire nuts. There's almost no material cost. You're selling pure expertise.
And I assume a lot of installers also sell the hardware, right?
They do. And that changes the margin profile a little. If you provide the hardware, your gross margin drops to maybe 50 to 70%. But you can often buy the devices wholesale, so you make a markup on the hardware itself.
So the percentage margin is lower, but the total dollars are higher.
Exactly. And after all your other expenses insurance, marketing the net margins settle at a really healthy 30 to 50%, which is just wildly profitable for a service business.
Okay, so if it's this profitable, why isn't everyone doing it? Let's talk about the barriers to entry.
That's the big question, right? And it's the difference between the financial barrier and the regulatory one.
The financial barrier seems really low. I saw figures from $1,300 up to maybe $15,000 if you're buying a van.
Right, but if you have a car, you're looking at, what, $1,300 to start. What are you even buying?
Tools, mostly. A good multimeter, a drill, screwdrivers. The sources say under $700 for tools. Maybe $1,000 on some initial marketing. You can work out of the trunk of your car.
So the financial barrier is basically non-existent, which usually means there's a catch.
And this is the catch, the regulations. This is the minefield that keeps the competition low and the margins high.
Let's break it down. If I'm in the US or Canada, can I just watch a YouTube video and get started?
Absolutely not in most places. You often need a low-voltage technician license or an HVAC license. It varies by state, even by county. And if you have to touch any high-voltage wiring, you might need a full electrician's license.
And if you do it without a license,
You're taking on massive liability. If there's a fire and the insurance company finds out an unlicensed contractor touched the wiring, they will deny the claim, and the homeowner will come after you.
and in the UK with the high voltage.
Over there, you'd want Part P certification for electrical safety. And if you're working directly with a gas boiler, you need to be very careful you don't cross into work that requires a gas-safe registration.
And the EU is probably even stricter.
Probably the strictest. In a place like Germany or France, working with 230-volt mains is almost always considered the job of a fully licensed electrician. So the barrier isn't money, it's knowledge and regulation.
Which is actually a good thing for the people who do get licensed. It filters out the competition.
It's a competitive moat, it professionalizes the whole trade.
Okay, so you've navigated the red tape, you've got your license, you're doing your 10 installs a week. How do you scale? The sources mentioned a Trojan horse strategy.
This is my favorite part of the whole model. The thermostat is just the entry point. It gets you inside the house.
Which is the hardest part of any service business, right? Getting invited in.
Exactly. You've installed the device, you've built trust. Now you're perfectly positioned to upsell other smart home services.
So you're not just selling heat anymore. What are you selling?
Peace of mind, convenience, Ring doorbells, smart locks, leak detectors. A $200 thermostat job can easily become a $1,500 home automation project.
And you're already there. No extra travel time. It's pure efficiency.
Right. And you go from being a thermostat guy to a home automation expert, which is a much more valuable brand.
The research also highlights B2B. That seems like where the real volume is.
Oh, B2B is the key to scaling. Think about property management companies, apartment complexes, hotels.
Ah, okay. So instead of driving to 50 different houses,
You drive to one building and install 50 units down the hall, one after another. The efficiency is massive. You become an assembly line of one.
and for the landlords, it's a no-brainer. They save on energy across the whole building.
Exactly. And they can monitor all their HVAC systems remotely. They get an alert if a boiler in building 4 fails before the tenants even notice it's cold.
Now, there's one term in here that every business owner loves: recurring revenue. How do you get that from an installation?
This is the holy grail they mentioned. You sell maintenance subscriptions or SaaS monitoring packages.
What does that mean for a homeowner? I'm not sure I'd pay a monthly fee for my thermostat.
You wouldn't pay for the thermostat, you'd pay for the assurance. It's a small annual fee where the installer remotely monitors your system's health. They get alerts if your efficiency drops, or they offer priority support. So if your heat dies on Christmas Eve, you jump to the front of the line.
Ah, okay. So it's like an insurance policy for comfort.
Exactly. And that 10 or 15 bucks a month lists the lifetime value of that customer by hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars.
Brilliant. And then there are the manufacturer partnerships, becoming a Nest Pro or something like that.
Yeah, that's another lever. You get certified, and the manufacturers send you free leads directly from their website. Plus, you can offer extended warranties the customer can't get otherwise. It adds instant legitimacy.
So let's recap. We're looking at a business fueled by the energy crisis and government rebates. It has incredibly low startup costs, but 6-figure potential because the margins are sky high.
Correct. It's protected by a wall of technical complexity and licensing rules. It's not for just anyone. You have to be willing to learn the trade properly.
It really challenges the idea of what a tradesperson is in 2026. It's not just wrenches anymore. It's Wi-Fi protocols and IP addresses.
Yeah, the days of fixing a boiler by hitting it with a hammer are long gone.
Which brings me to a final thought for you to chew on. As our homes get more digital and our energy grids get smarter, are we seeing the death of the general handyman? I think we might be seeing the birth of a totally new trade: the home energy optimization consultant.
That sounds a lot more expensive than a handyman.
It is, and it will soon be just as essential as a plumber or an electrician. If you can master both the wires and the software, you're not just fixing a home, you're upgrading its entire operating system. You become the IT department for the house.
The IT department for the house, and that's a fascinating way to look at it.
And that's a very powerful and very profitable place to be.
We will leave you with that thought. Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.